Number two, we'll give you an update on the Ghana embassy in Washington. And I have a couple of things to say. I think initially I said on air that there was a New York office. I'm not sure of that now, because I keep getting complaints that people in the US may not be able to access services of the embassy in there.
My lecturer who's there now yesterday got in touch to say he's struggling to get a visa for his son and all that. So they want to know the alternative to the closure, as the place has been shut down or closed. What's the alternative for those who need the
what is the
services?
timeline?
Exactly.
So that's the second point that I'll get, but I feel like we need to get into what are the issues.
So speaking about that, there's an embassy in Washington DC and there's a consulate in New York.
Okay.
I don't know what the difference between a consulate and an embassy is, but clearly it's not the same thing, which is why. And then I think they have another office in Massachusetts.
I suspect, I stand to be corrected. So a consulate helps citizens of a country in another country, whilst the embassy is how other nationals
maybe that's what
contact their country. So consulate service, like I'm in New York and I need help because they are looking for some forms. They said I need a job, and they said, okay, produce a police report. I go to my consulate and I say, look, I'm a Ghanaian. Can you help me get that? That's consular services provided for citizens. So that's happening in New York. Embassy services are like a Caribbean guy or somebody from Tibet wants to come to Ghana, and then he has to get a visa. That's what happens. But do you know the details of this?
So it was announced on Monday. So this is how the story kind of came out by the foreign minister, Mr. Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa, that the embassy in Washington DC is closing because they are trying to restructure and overhaul their systems. And audit, and there's going to be an audit. That's part of the reason it's closed, because one of the things he described was there was a employee by the name of Fred Kwarting who allegedly created a fake website. Like, it kind of was an overlay on the website. So if you go to the embassy website, it will redirect you to his personal travel and tours page, where he was charging Ghanaians fees to do what he could have done. So it was like he was charging them extra to do what they could have done. So it's almost like he used the page to kind of make himself a middleman to, get his share, and he was charging them from between $30 to $60.
Okay.
I used the word allegedly already.
Unless you want him to say it in ever. He said it already.
I used the word allegedly. Thank you. So they've recorded, and then the IT department has been dissolved because he was part of the IT department, and the Auditor General is going to kind of do an audit. So that's the main issues that are happening. They said they will be open in a few days. So that's what we've heard from the foreign minister. So that's the main thrust of the story.
All right. Now, there are a couple of questions there. Why only one person? Because this looks like a complex web, right? If people have to access embassy services, and somehow this guy manages to direct them to his own page, and for like 4 or 5 years, the embassy did not know. Do you get it? So I feel like there needs to be a broader investigation into the matter. And then, of course, the second question Sky asked, why do you close down the whole embassy because of this? Unless, of course, that's in answer to the first question I asked, that maybe they believe that more people in the embassy are complicit, and therefore they feel like they can't have anybody do anything there until they get to the bottom of the matter. All right? And then there's a third question of why they should announce in public that they have closed down the embassy. According to an MP, it makes Ghana unpopular. I don't think that's really the issue.
Well, if the embassy is closed, people have to know that this is the case.
Yes. So for me, I think that the issue of the reputation is not. I think the reputation has already been damaged by the wrong act that was done. So,
yes, and they've also recalled all the staff.
So
who are there?
And is this guy a Ghanaian who was employed there?
Well, they said local staff, so I'm going to assume from the use of local staff.
He wasn't sent from here.
Ghanaian living in America
who was
hired.
So it wasn't like he was sent from Ghana.
Exactly.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Let me come back to the economic matters. So this is something just to give you an update.
Bernard, I thought I could just...
You chip in on a couple, eh? Yes, so yes.
Clarity must come from the ministry, right? So the minister, we appreciate that he's sharing information. We're talking about ECG sharing information. Now the minister is sharing information.
Which minister?
This is Foreign Affairs Minister.
Okay, we've moved to the second issue now.
Yes, he's using his Facebook to share information. Some are of the view that for such official information should be communicated on the letterhead of the ministry, for example, and then shared and all that.
No,
but
the world has changed.
Well, that aside, it's important. I mean, my thing I really want to know is what's the alternative? So if you've shut down the place, investigation must be done by all means. We need to know I mean, the nature of it is
Let me read what he said. Then you can ask the question. With firm support from the president, I've carried out the following drastic and decisive actions following the damning findings of a special audit team I put together a couple of months to investigate alleged corrupt practices at the Ghana Embassy in DC. 1. The immediate dismissal of Fred Kwarting. Mr. Kwarting was a local staff recruited on August 11, 2017 to work in the embassy's IT department. According to findings and his own admission, he created an unauthorized link on the embassy's website which diverted visa and passport applicants to his company, Ghana Travel Consultants, where he charged extra for multiple services on the blind side of the ministry and kept the entire proceeds in his private account. His illegal extra charges, which were not approved by the ministry and parliament as required under the Fees and Charges Act, range from 29.75 USD to 60 per applicant. The investigations reveal that he and his collaborators operated this illegal scheme for at least 5 years. This conduct has been reported to the Ghana Attorney General for his possible prosecution and retrieval of funds obtained through fraudulent schemes. So that's 1. 2. All Ministry of Foreign Affairs staff posted to Washington Embassy have been recalled home with immediate effect. 3. The embassy's IT department has been promptly dissolved. 4. All locally recruited staff at the embassy have been suspended. 5. The Auditor General has been invited to conduct forensic examination of all transactions and to determine the total cost of this elaborate fraudulent scheme. 6. Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. shall be closed for a few days from today as we finalize ongoing restructuring and systems overhaul. Any inconvenience these radical measures may cause visa and passport applicants is regretted. President Mohammed's government will continue to demonstrate zero tolerance for corruption, naked conflict of interest, and blatant abuse of power. So,
how few are the days?
I think it's clear. For me, I think the actions are very thorough.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't know the extent of the thing.
Yeah.
If people keep working normally, they may hide evidence.
True.
So I think the only thing missing should have said, we are closing the embassy for maybe 2 days or 3 days. It was closed yesterday.
Yes.
Today is Tuesday.
Yes. So in lieu of the closure, where can you find services if you are within the jurisdiction?
It's a fair question.
That's the only
It's a fair,
thing
but sometimes I
have.
feel like sometimes I feel like if you want to solve a problem of this nature that you don't know the full size, because guy, you can't tell me that for 4 years since 2017
That's
or
wild.
whatever somebody has been doing
5
this.
years.
You get me? So maybe one guy is a 4 guy,
Yeah.
but there are obviously
It's
other
a
people who know.
systemic thing.
I mean, you've tried to apply for a visa. It cannot be just one person.
And speaking, the Africa reports claim that they spoke to a NIB official who claimed that this was reported in 2020
And nothing was done about it.
2021,
You see.
and nothing happened. So it's not even. It doesn't seem like it's something that he came to find. It's like he came to see a report. He's like, this report is here. What happened?
So so Sky, my point is that if it may be
Syndicate.
inconveniencing to shut down the embassy for a few days, but I think that all things considered, definitely a lot of people in the embassy have questions to answer. You can ask Ghanaians their experience. Look, on this show, people send you comments about it. Somebody's passport even got lost in the Washington place there. So there's a lot of issues. So I think that he's been transparent in telling us what he wants to do. He shouldn't close the thing down for 1 week or 1 month. But obviously, even if it will be 2 days,
Some house cleaning must go on.
I tell you, even if it means a new IT system, because this guy, if you are using a system that has been used to commit this fraudulent thing, shutting the IT system down can help you then sort of go to the back end and find out, because maybe some people have access and things, okay? If somebody still has access, he can wipe the evidence. So you need to put a stop to all of that so you can harvest the body of evidence and use it to be prosecuted. And I think that sometimes it's in the greater good.
You see, I agree with you to some extent, but there are departures I have on the basis of a number of things. So first of all, I think we have to commend the minister for the efforts he's making to actually bring about good image for the foreign ministry generally. He's doing great works as the passport office. We're seeing improvement in service delivery, and then also greater commitment to get Ghanaians to do greater things outside of this country. We saw an agreement recently signed with some, I think it was Germany, to send people there to work and bring money home and to feed their family. But on this particular matter, I beg to differ. I think that to shut down an embassy merely because a staff or some staff have done something untoward, which is, if the facts are correct, would require criminal prosecution, is completely unacceptable for a number of reasons. First of all, if you read internationally how countries respond to, serious issues affecting their embassies, this is not one of them. All the research I've done, I'm yet to find in any country where the actions of a single individual
Or a syndicate.
as a syndicate, as the case may be, because we are told of only one person.
Yeah.
But he mentioned collaborators.
Yeah,
that's why
that's
that's why
right.
they've suspended staff and stuff.
Exactly. You see, would require that a whole embassy is shut down. You hear that, oh, security threat to the embassy, or something has happened, or maybe the staff are being recalled because aggression from the host nation, or you are not happy about something and you decide to shut down the embassy in order to engage at a certain level. But this, if the facts are to be believed, will be criminal conduct. And if the guy is covered by diplomatic immunity and can be prosecuted there for whatever reason, you will bring him to Ghana to come and answer questions. If there are collaborators involved, as we are told, those people must be found. Now, in this day and age of IT...
But how do you unravel the complex web if you don't put things to a stop?
Okay, so first of all, you have isolated the people responsible, right?
One person. You found one person.
Yeah, but they said they were collaborators.
They haven't mentioned their names.
Yeah, which they did not do.
They didn't mention that.
So what I'm saying is that if you get the person who is the face of the alleged scandal,
Yes.
right, or the fraudulent scheme, you first of all grab him and put him on the next plane to Accra, right? He comes in and he sits in the cooler, answering questions with his lawyers as to what exactly he did.
Yep.
The people involved. Then you isolate. So, for instance, in this day and age of ICT, it is possible to set up a parallel system which will allow for consular services or embassy services to continue while you preserve the one that has been tainted, and then use all the forensic tools that are available to investigate and know who and who.
But my point is, you don't know who in the Washington team to trust. That's my issue.
But
that's the thing. So the truth is that it's ground zero.
You know what? We were just talking about ECG, right?
Yeah.
We have not shut down ECG or the what do you call it? The Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority merely because we claim that some containers.
But it's a different problem, isn't it?
No, Bernard, it is not different.
Because this goes to the heart of trust. Sorry, this is what I'm saying. Between 2017 and whatever, there's a systematic rip-off of people who apply for visas.
Have to prosecute them.
It is very serious. And for me, the fact that you have at least found the guy at the center of it is good enough. But that does not mean that. You see, 2 days of embassy not working will not bring the world to an end. But a lot of evil will be done because now that you see, they know the full extent of the problem, so they have to stop it and then decide what to do.
Before people cover up and do things.
Yes.
So you see, what you do, and we have foreign intelligence officers in Ghana. Some of them even work in the embassies. Or even if you go to the national security setup, you have people who know how some of these things work. My view, respectfully, is that, Bernard,
You think it's heavy-handed?
yes, you isolate the problem.
Maybe you don't have the tools
It
for
is this
isolation.
link that is being used to perpetrate this fraud, right? You freeze it.
Yeah.
Announce the introduction of a new link or new portal
Charlie.
for receiving applications and processing
But
them.
it may take a couple of days to do that.
Bernard,
That's what
and
I'm saying. Because, guys, you see, this is the thing. We all don't know the state of Washington place.
But
You see, you and I are speaking based on the facts that have been put out. Obviously, and I'm not saying we shouldn't question the minister. Obviously, those who are closer to the situation will tell you that the way this place is, it may not be possible to do that until a few days. Do you understand? Or maybe the person who says, I'm going to set up the thing you are proposing, said, I need a few days. What I'm saying is that in the quest to bring back confidence, sometimes to bring back confidence, you have to stop everything. Because if somebody wants to apply for a visa tomorrow, having heard that they were being raped, he may say, look, let me even hold on. Okay? If my only thing I agree with is that it was too open-ended. He should have said, the embassy will be closed for 2 days while we reboot, so that people can plan. That's the only problem with this. Do you understand? The idea of stopping operations for a day or two is not an issue if it was time-bound. But what is happening is that it may be on for like another 2 days.
A few days could be 3 days, 2 weeks.
That's the problem.
We don't know.
That's the problem. That's the problem. So let's agree to disagree that you believe that they could have had a better way of doing it whilst the system is running. I am saying that I have no problem with 1 or 2 days. But I want it to be close-ended.
You see, so
But I hope you agree with me that it cannot be just be one person.
no, of course. I mean,
it cannot be one
And
person.
Bernard, I want to
I
say,
want to ask you a
I also
question.
disagree
listening.
with you.
That how
okay.
difficult should it be to redirect the services?
You see, me, I'm not an IT person, and I don't know how they do these visa things manually. But ordinarily, what I know is that when a place like that emerges, is a crime scene, and you cordon off a crime scene for a reason. You want to, because you see, Sky, if you send an investigator to a place, he wants to be able to see the thing in the state of the. You just understand, like somebody has been shot in a place. You cordon off the place. The investigator wants to see and reenact the thing. If you are running the system at the same time as doing that, you won't find the full thing. That's my view.
I'm not saying that.
Bernard,
It's not the same
I
system.
want to say that
Help me.
I disagree with you on
Help
the
me.
sense that
Help me.
on the length of time, if you are fixing a problem and you have to close it for 2 weeks or 2 months, I'm okay with it, because this is a very serious problem that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
Like you said, to bring back trust.
Yeah.
We're here when COVID happened and we closed our borders for how long?
The country
We didn't die.
Yeah, that's what I'm. So you agree with
no,
me?
But I'm saying, what I disagree with you about is the length of time that.
No, I'm just saying that they should have given us a certain window.
Yeah, that
It's
one,
too
that,
open-ended.
that one would be nicer. But I'm saying that whatever even.
Then you
length
are
of
my
time-
you are on my side.
I'm just, it's a slight one. It's not like I completely. It's a slight.
For me, I'm
whatever
with-
length of
I'm
time.
with
You are with
Sai,
Guy on this.
because I kind of feel that
Yes.
you're going to disrupt people's lives, and so it's not. We're thankful for the message. We're thankful that you anticipated the inconvenience that you say will last a few days.
Yeah.
But however many those few days are, it would have been.
Okay.
It would have
I
been
want to
better.
bring a broader issue, Sky. I want to bring a broader issue.
I also
Just
want to say,
broader
even
issue.
the inconvenience, who's more inconvenienced by a disruption and you can eventually come, or they were frauding you? I think the frauding is where this
No, you see,
inconvenience.
there are
I understand what you are saying, but I'm just saying that.
So it means that those who even had visas may have been ripped off. So you had a visa last year, you were paid.
But
You
there
paid
can always
$60.
be a remedy
Bernard,
for
our
that. Now, Bernard,
sources are
imagine.
indicating that the embassy will be open this week. New staff are being deployed there. So
Okay, no problem.
yeah.
I wanted to bring up something, Seth. You know, there seems to be a trend.
Okay, just before you do that, Bernard.
Okay.
Imagine if you are saying that you are recruiting new staff, you are sending them. Imagine
Yeah.
if we use the presidential jet to transport the people we are sending there in advance of the closure. And then we say that, okay, these are the new staff who have come in.
Yeah.
They are in Washington. You, A, B, C, D, T.
Stand aside.
Stand aside.
Take them
Return
by
to-
surprise.
Exactly.
They shouldn't have waited.
Yeah, I mean,
Sky, but you are talking
Okay.
about the ideal. What I'm saying is that we all don't know. Anyway, okay, whatever.
let me-
I'm saying that there's a general feeling I get scanning the news. So the containers matter. A lot of panic was put in the system that something untoward has happened. Now the story in the graphic today does not resolve the matter. In my view, it brings more confusion. All right. Then we've had Cocoa Board too. You see, so what I'm trying to say is that could it be that a lot of the new duty bearers are in a hurry to show that they are uncovering things, and therefore they are not being thorough before they come out? You get it? Because there's a lot of things you can say about something that's going wrong somewhere. Whether it's One to Me has done something, they went to governor's house that he has put something there. They found out some money, Cocoa Board has paid some money to One to Me. Now they say they are missing containers. I'm trying to jumble up, but I get a sense that there's a certain haste for reporting that we have caught people, which sometimes comes at the expense of a thorough investigation. In fact, if you take even the AG, the press conferences he gave around the Edubuahin matter and the other matters, Skytrain and stuff, it feels like I think investigators prefer quiet investigations so that they will be abreast of the full facts. Then when they go out to speak, they are on all fours. It seems to me as if there's some haste which may inadvertently affect the success of the AG's work. Because if you put the information out there, even imagine if I'm a collaborator with a criminal and you said this guy is a thief, Otilo, I'll sell everything, I'll run away. Do you get it? If like you waited and say, oh, there's nothing going on, the guy is still working there for 6 months, you get it, then you can catch everybody. So I don't know whether it's permit me, maybe I'm mixing things up.
So you have
But the ECG thing, for me, it's some way. So,
Bernard,
you know,
so you see, in my respectful view, if you take over as a government, and you have some concerns about possible inconsistencies in the numbers you have been given. In order to establish what is the true state of affairs, what do? You order a forensic audit so that all the traces can be done. You can get the Big Four to do their own audit. These are very respectable institutions. They'll get into the matter, investigate it, and present a report. That report will be referred to maybe the Attorney General for scrutiny and a legal opinion as to whether there should be culpability and prosecution thereof. You understand? So on the basis of that, if the report lands, and then you tell us that, look, based on evidence, collected by the Big Four, or maybe one of the Big Fours, right? And an assessment done by the Attorney General, these are the steps you are taking to immediately hold people accountable and to retrieve those we still can't find.
The quick point to make there, though, there have been times where you would learn of investigations about to roll at a specific department. Next thing you know, there's a fire outbreak.
That's true.
It happens a lot. There's
I was
arson.
thinking fire because
There is
there was
arson.
No, you see,
Before you know, there is fire outbreak.
so you see,
So
And this fire will burn everything.
and you won't
This guy,
find any.
there was a fire at GRA near Circle.
Correct.
And that fire apparently
Went
was
to the
around
records,
the
archives
time
and
they were
things.
trying to investigate something.
Thank you.
The fire came from heaven and destroyed everything.
It came from heaven.
It's like the light, the fire of Elijah.
we are laughing at it, but it's a serious thing. And you see, I agree with you.
So sometimes drastic.
I remember under the Mills
Which
government,
is why everyone has to go home.
there was a big.
That's why you have to go to the
You
embassy.
see, no, there was a.
There may be a fire in the embassy.
If the link
Guy,
is. Yes.
for all you know, there may be a fire if they hadn't closed down the embassy.
Someone will suddenly pick up a smoking habit in the records
No,
department.
you see, that is why you keep it silent, right? Engage the people. They are silent. Go into the matter. Investigate. For instance, I mean, the Auditor General, every year, they are coming out reports. We are not banning every office because people have done wrongdoing there and they don't want the Auditor General to expose it. I remember under the Mills government, and when we had the issue concerns about drugs being imported and whether they are in the right shape or form, all of a sudden, the Ghana Health Service, warehouse, bent down completely. It bent, and as we speak, we do not know
Medical stores.
exactly medical stores. So that matter is also there.
Yeah.
So yes, those are genuine concerns. But I'm as a counter argument, I'm saying that yearly we see the Auditor General. They do audits. They expose people. They hold them accountable. In some cases, they retrieve the losses. So it is possible for us to use that model, investigate the matters before a public official comes to speak.
Yeah.
But speaking ahead of time,
Yeah.
and then now evidence is emerging that, these things, they are not missing after all. They were still in the port, now you have found them.
You're missing 1,003 and you found
I mean,
2,006.
it's miraculous.
Christ is working. Why are we overthinking this? Christ is working.
Stop bringing my savior into this matter. This has nothing to do with Christ.
You remember that my good friend at the DVLA also said something to that effect,
What
that
did he say?
there were some contracts that people were not doing anything and for some reason they were being paid.
It was supposed to be paid. And
Exactly, and that they are looking into it.
Yeah.
How many months now?
We are still looking into it.
We have not heard anything.
But the suspicion, Sky, this is the other issue. The suspicion between the two teams creates a lot of these issues.
Yeah.
A lot of times, look, even the issue of recruitment, I don't think the transition team works in good faith. I think that's the real problem. And I don't think the two sides work with the interest of Ghana at heart. I think the outgoing team, obviously despondent, no one to cooperate. The incoming team, obviously triumphant and wants to nail the outgoing team. So information sharing, they do it for the cameras. President will shake the former president, chief of staff will smile the former chief of staff. But behind the scenes, there isn't a lot of good faith. And the state suffers. So this is my thing. We need a strong state. A strong state meaning that a civil service which is permanent. A chief director whose tenure should not coincide with the political leader. The so-called permanent secretary, whose job is to steer the affairs of the state. if Ghana, if Ghana is important to us, we can't leave Ghana in the hands of the mood swings of NDC and MPP people alone. We have to protect institutions. Where there are people whose job it is to steer those matters, so that the political head just comes with policy to give a tweak. What we have is that new king, new law. And new king means every law which the old king put out is not going to stand. And it's not good for the state. So now you want to even investigate something, you have to shut down the whole thing, because you don't even know that the person, but there should be a system in which some of the old guards can be useful. And this is for all sectors. We are not even talking ECG or consular services. The reason we are having these problems is that we do the reset every 4 years. Sometimes even within the same government. I don't think it's the best way to go about it. So I agree with what you said. There needs to be more thoroughness. There needs to be a bit more clandestine. There shouldn't be this, let's always address the press. Oh, no. Investigations are more detailed because you want to really retrieve the money.